Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. I feel as if by the number of people in this room, I feel as if I'm at a big staff meeting. I want to thank Senator Hill for making me a part of this summit and an opportunity to give some introductory remarks. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Carol Burke, Nathan Simmons, and others, and Dr. Davies, to put together this summit today. Because I think the putting together of something like this begins to speak volumes as to what we think we're going to do in the future based on what we've done in the past. And when I look at the summit in many cases, I try to look at the individuals that have put it together to understand, if they understand, what is required by the speakers, by the topics, and by the agenda items after the summit is over. But when you consider that Carol Burke, in addition to being the Chief of Staff of Senator Hill, was an Assistant Commissioner of the Department of Labor, served in the Senate, she clearly understands that Nathan Simmons, by his position at the legislature, at the office of the Lieutenant Governor, now in the office of the Governor, and with the EDA, understands the distinction and the opportunities between the legislature and the executive branch. And clearly, Dr. Davies, by his position at the university, understands the university's role intellectually with respect to the educational opportunities, but also making sure that when something is completed, that we move forward. To be a part of also the agenda that includes the Chief Justice, who served on the Superior Court, and before he was elevated to such a magnificent position, served as a campaign manager for one of my best friends. He himself understands government, and what government is and what government can do. And then Senator Hill, having served at WAPA, and then a St. Thomas administrator, and now a Senate president, clearly understands what is required to change a government, to change a community, if we decided that we need to move forward in many respects. So it really is an honor for me to be here, because I look at public service as truly an honorable profession, a profession where people do not give enough credit to those who serve in government, whether it's elected or appointed. And I say that not just because of the position I hold, but because for many years I've believed that to change a community requires that you have public officials that understand the underpinnings of a community. From my time when I served as Commissioner of Finance, to when I served as a financial advisor to the city of Philadelphia, to the city of New Haven, and then to Washington, D.C., you understand in those communities the importance of government, and you understand, most importantly, the importance of effective and efficient government if we expect to move forward. So the topic that we're discussing, the topic that we're going to talk about for the next 2 days, is clearly a topic to me that is dear to my heart, but also I think is the underpinning in order to change our community. And in the last 4 years, I'm very proud of what we've been able to achieve, both in terms of the hard accomplishments, but also in terms of the way we've approached in looking at government, in operating government, and also in managing government. The whole notion of one government with transparency is a theme that we've constantly and consistently tried to push, because we believe that no matter whether we live on the 4 islands of the U.S. Virgin Islands, it is at the end of the day one government that serves one community, irrespective of our political beliefs, our religious underpinning, our personal beliefs. The minute we step through the door as public officials, we are serving a community that depends on us both economically, socially, and financially. And I believe that the concept of one government has kept us there. But in order to understand and really then define what is effective and efficient government, you have to put it in a context. For many of us, there may be very different ways that you look at it. It was very clear that when we borrowed 2 years ago, that our community was very concerned with respect to the amount of debt that we were taking on, the obligations that we were putting this government under, and more by extension, the community. One of the things that we've been very careful to do as we've borrowed in our community is to make sure that the repayment of the debts in our community do not come from the pocketbooks of our taxpayers, that they come primarily from revenue streams, if possible, outside those that require us to look at tax increases or at fee increases. So you begin to then determine why something such as this is necessary. Is it driven just by numbers, or is it driven by the sort of government you want to have within the community and to determine the type of community that you want? I look at effective and efficient government a number of ways. I look at it by the mere fact we have to do more with less. That in our environment today, our taxpayers in a community our size of 120,000 people at best, more in tourist season, a maximum income level that puts us probably at middle to upper middle class, if not lower in some respects. We can't go from further tax increases or fee increases in our community because the ones that we're hitting our own pocketbooks. There are no other independent revenue streams to us to look at, so we have to look at how we do more with less. We have to look at leveraging of technology and recognize that in today's age, that the way we approach the operations of government have got to change tremendously, as we've also changed in our own lives how we approach our own personal interactions, whether it be in the way that we shop, the way that we interact with our friends, or just a mere way that we socialize in our community. We also have to look at the whole notion of training and investment and performance management and making sure that what we do more with less resources and what we do with technology and what we do with streamlining, that we come back repeatedly and ask ourselves, are we doing it well and can we do it better? Because the improvement of everything we do depends on us providing services that require us to move forward. But one of the most important aspects of an efficient and effective government, in my opinion, is also a dialogue with the private sector. I do not believe that you can talk about an efficient and effective government unless you manage the expectations of the private sector. While the private sector is the generator of revenues that pays the taxes, that support our salaries, that supports the capital improvements that we do, whether it's working from our healthcare system to our educational system, to making sure that we can provide for the homeless, or making sure that we can send our children away to a baseball or basketball tournament in another jurisdiction. We have to make sure that we manage the expectations of the private sector the same way that they have us make sure that we manage their expectations. We have to make sure that the nonprofits in our community, that those understand that we can't be all things to them, that we can't do everything, that we don't have the resources to do everything, nor can we afford to do everything because the monies we have are in fact their monies. Can we continue to send 3 basketball teams from the same community to the same jurisdiction? Can we continue, even at hurricanes and storms, can we continue to fix each and every driveway that has been damaged? Can we continue to look at the most minuscule of items and think that we can fix it because someone wants it done? But at the same time, we have to understand that our ability to perform as a government comes from the private sector. It comes from their doors being open, from the products that they sell, to the branding that they do to make sure that they perform and provide the services that folks will want. So in the last 4 years, understanding the role of government, looking to the private sector for support, I'm extremely proud of some of the things that we've accomplished. From the implementation of the 911 call center and the whole emergency management apparatus, not just because of what it is, but because of what it achieved. It now requires certification. It has a career track for some of our operators with respect to things that they want to do, and hopefully not just here, but outside the territory. It gives us the ability to incorporate a geographic information system within the call center. It allows us at the same time to go to the next level and look at the 311 system, where our community can call in to a centralized location to improve services and at the same time tell folks what's wrong. It's also required and called for us to be more transparent. We're now posting our financial information, whether it be central government or through the Public Finance Authority, online so the community can see exactly what we're doing and how we're spending their money. And I, for one, truly believe that the printing and the obligation to put salaries out there of government employees when it's asked for is one of a responsibility that we have. Because when all is said and done, our salaries are paid by the public, by the private sector. We are moving forward with plans for business licensing that will be online, permitting that will be online, trying to automate a process that takes it away from a manual, multiple steps, to something that is much more streamlined. And at the same time, working with the Superior Court and the Supreme Court and with the legislature, made sure that we funded and had the ability to have a magistrate system that for a very long time had not been a possibility, but that now, with that system, be able to free up the courts with respect to the dockets and the cases that they have. But we've made all these changes, quite frankly, recognizing that government has got to change. That government cannot continue to do in 2010 what we did in 1960 or what we did in 1976.